guys, welcome back to part 2 of the basics of tag making. If you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and check it out. And first of all, I want to apologize for that buzzing noise in the background. I just watched part 1 a couple seconds ago, just the first little bit of it. But sorry about that, guys. I can't really help it because I don't have a mic. I'm just yelling into my computer, really. Alright, so we've left off doing all this stuff right under here, and we stop right at the render. Alright, so next thing we want to do, or next thing I did, is I added some more fractals in front of the render to help him blend in more. I put this one over his hand mainly because he has some type of defect over his hand. I don't want to know what, but yeah. Okay, after that, add some more fractals up here. And one thing I want to go over right now is flow. Flow is something that every tag needs to have, or should have. Flow is basically like the direction your piece is going to be traveling. That's not good terminology. Don't listen to that. It just gives you a it's a tough thing to explain. It's like the flow in this one, this little piece right on this side would be diagonally. So, you know, if I had like a piece going diagonally there, and then I had this part shooting up through here, and it would just get all chaotic and it wouldn't flow together right. So keep that in mind when you make your piece. It's most likely diagonal. But the interesting thing about this piece is, in this situation, it's not diagonal. It's sort of the explosive type thing. The way I got this effect is by dragging this space fractal, which was an explosion thing, and erasing the render part of it. And I try to make the box sort of get the feel that it's blowing up. But, and then once again you set it to linear dodge, like so. And that sort of gives it a good bit of flow, and it doesn't really contradict this diagonal lines up here, because they're all sort of diagonal this way. But, next thing is I add another fractal on top of that, and it is red, and we didn't want that, so we changed it to blue using the hue and saturation again. And then getting towards the end of your piece, I'm not sure why I have a blank layer there. Oh, I know why. We'll talk about that later. Alright. So this was a bit of a cool thing you can do, is notice how I have the red side, or the left side red but the right side blue, and that's sort of the duotone I was talking about in the last video. An interesting technique you can use is you can create a new layer, and with a soft brush paint this side whatever color you wanted. I did a purplishy color. This is a bit reddish, the right side is blue. And then I turned the opacity down to 47%. It doesn't have to be that, it really varies. But, and then switch it to soft light, so it gives it more of a color. I don't know if you can see that. Alright, moving on. This is another interesting technique. For this, what I did is, if you can press Control, Alt, Shift, E, it basically duplicates or makes a new layer with whatever is visible in the image. So that is, I think that's what, image, no it's not. I'll have to show you. I've only used Control Shift D. Maybe it's, well, that's not bugging me now, I'll figure it out later. But once you do that, you want to switch your mode to multiply, This gives it sort of a dramatic effect, like that, and then you want to turn it down to like 50-ish, which is what I did. Like that. So you can sort of see the more dramatic feel you get from it. And then, next thing I always like to do is darken up the edges to give the focus more towards the center. You see it sort of adds a lot. But the way you do it is create a new layer. The soft brush, just go around the edges like that. And then I like to turn the opacity down. How low do I have this one? I don't know, it's 100. If you get too dark, turn down the opacity. Alright, now this is where it sort of gets creative-ish. Where is it? These effects right here. Is it this? Oh, my bad. It is here. This panel. Let me check the time. Okay, we have a few minutes to finish this. Anyway, what you want to do is go to your adjustments panel, and I like to do photo filter. And I've already done this, so I'm just going to show you. What this does is there's a bunch of them. The one I like to do is gradient map, and then click your gradient thing and select this one right here, and then switch it to soft light and turn the opacity down. Another thing I like to do is photo filler, which I did a warming filter. You can also do a cooling filter. Where is it? Filter. Cooling, like that. Or warming, or you can select your own color. But that is something cool you can play around with. There we go. The next thing is another gradient map. This one happened to be, I think it's black. Nope. This is a custom one I made. Purple, green, and orange. And it sort of gives it a neat little fill here. And you can turn it down. That one looks really good on other images, not specifically this one, but other images it tends to look really nice on. So keep that one in mind. And then this one's the final one I like to do on almost all my images, which is a black and white one. Which it just makes it so everything isn't as dominating, like all the colors aren't as dominating. Where did I mess up? And then the next thing is create a new layer. And this is what I do for borders. And then just control backspace, it makes it fill in the layer. Go into your double click, go into your layer style, go to stroke. I like to do a 1 pixel on the inside. And then set the fill to nothing. But you can see the stroke is still there. And that's just a way to like preserve your thing. Let me see if I have time. Yeah. Another cool thing to do is the same thing, go into your stroke, set it to like, let's say, out that. Press Control T, spread it out, and it gives you these cinematic type bars.